Okay, throughout history, Detroit has been blessed with the big four sports teams: Pistons, Wings, Tigers, Lions. But now we have La Rouge, the Detroit City Football Club. In 2012, a group of friends and entrepreneurs created DCFC. The first games were played at Cass Tech. Then in 2016, the games moved to Keyworth Stadium over in Hamtramck. There was a community investment drive raising $741,000 to improve that stadium in Hamtramck. And then last year, the big announcement: a new stadium in Southwest Detroit at the site of the old Southwest Detroit Hospital. The club just filed with the SEC to raise the final $15 million, and one event that everyone keeps talking about in all your games. CEO Sean, thank you so much for coming in today. I want to talk about this push for the final $15 million. This is a big deal because this essentially gets you over that last finish line, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe there's more.
Yeah, we've been on a pretty amazing journey. As you're referencing there, that goes back to 2012, it's been an amazing ride, and we had a lot of fun at Cass Tech, and Keyworth and Hamtramck's been a great home to us. But a few years ago, we decided we need a home for that was properly our own, and one that was fitting for this sport in this community, and for this club and for the supporters around it. So, we've been on a capital raise for quite a while now, and now we're heading down the final stretch, both in terms of equity raise, but also the debt for the stadium.
I read an article, and you were quoted in essentially saying that filing with the SEC gives you the ability to just start collecting the checks that have been promised to you. Do you have a lot of people lined up ready to hand in some money?
Yeah, I mean, so far, just in the last year, we've raised over $35 million already towards the stadium project, and so this is the last tranche. Yeah. So, this is unique in that, this whole project's been very unique in that, I'm a guy who lives in Southwest Detroit. I live just a few blocks from the actual billionaire backer behind us. There has been this amazing community around this club, and so a lot of different individuals have been participating in all kinds of ways over the years, and now there's a series of investors. And so we're looking to round out the ownership group and close out those conversations and start finalizing the project here.
We're looking at some video right now of some matches you've had in Hamtramck at Keyworth, and you mentioned community, and this really does feel like a community team. Is that something you were going for, or did it just kind of happen naturally, or maybe both?
Yeah, I mean, it started out just who we are, right? It was started by 5 guys who live here in the city, and this was a reflection of our passion for the city of Detroit in particular. And so, now that's manifested in that, it's a very unique thing that, in American sports, where the actual ownership group lives in the same zip code as the stadium project.
Right.
That's not normal. And so, this is how we kind of organically grew, but it's ultimately kind of core to who we are, is being rooted in this community. My kids go to Detroit Public School, just a few blocks from the stadium site, right? And we interact with our fans at the grocery store, and it's this is when we have these shows like Welcome to Wrexham and everything like that now are nationally popular here in the U.S. This is the closest thing you have that in America, right?
We're looking at video right now of the new home, eventually, of DCFC. What was the process like to buy this old hospital? And you still have some hurdles to get eventually to the Detroit City Council to get about $5 million back in tax reimbursements, right?
Well, yeah, it started a few years ago where we realized that we needed a permanent home, right? And so we were looking at sites across the city. And I was in conversations with the mayor's office where, they suggested us that we talk to the folks at Michigan Central, not just about, obviously, the amazing transformation there, but the future of that site, and obviously living in that neighborhood, and seeing the possibility of all the future development around there. It got the wheels turning for us about how remarkable a location this is, and a unique opportunity to tie Michigan Avenue in with Verner and bridge Corktown with Mexican Town, an area that has been largely vacant for over 2 decades now. And it's also a site that's amazingly accessible and highly visible with 96 and 75 right there. And it's an amazing opportunity to create a site that is very neighborhood scaled, and not just dropping a spaceship, which I think is core to our values.
Speaking of neighborhood, we had a conversation in the newsroom this morning. Is it Southwest Detroit, or is it Corktown, or is it both?
So we say, we say it's Southwest Detroit, right? That's how we identify it. And I guess I say that as a longtime resident of Southwest Detroit, that I think it's an opportunity to capture interest and support from a broader community.
There were some articles and some headlines that I read about millions of gallons of water in a basement at the hospital. Is this true? And do you have to pump that out?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we go into this knowing that there's be all kinds of unique challenges along the way.
Some urban explorers have gone in there a few times.
Sure.
Too.
I mean, the building has been, one of the more prominent blighted properties for, close to 2 decades now. And so it's an amazing opportunity to take that site and turn it into something that's very positive in the community. And so one of the things, the challenges is, there's 1.5 to 1.9 million gallons of water in the basement that we need to pump out and filter and remove from the site. And so that's actually something that we're working to get done in the coming weeks here, and so that we can move forward with demolition this summer.
Okay, so the new stadium, I read about 15,000 seats. It will have retail, residential, and we're hoping the timeline to be open by 2027, so 2 years from now. Is that still your hope, or are we looking a little further out, knowing that there's more site delays there?
Yeah, no, we're pushing hard on everybody to be ready for the 2027 season. Yeah. So it's always been an aggressive timeline, but that's one we're committed to. And as people who live in the city, I think we're sensitive to projects that get announced and never come to fruition.
Sure, yeah, that's happened a few times here.
Sure,
yeah.
So I mean, and I appreciate the difficulties of doing development, and particularly here in the city of Detroit. And so, but we have a commitment to our fans and the community to make sure this project moves forward.
Yeah. Also of incredible importance is, again, the community feel. And I do want to actually bring up some of our megaphone questions right now. We were asking the community, what would you like to see in a new stadium? And some of the comments, the first one was that they don't want to lose that community feel. I mean, that can happen. The larger you build, the less access you have to the club and the players. And one specific comment was, we still want to be able to high five. In fact, here it is from Alec. He says, ideally, what you want to see in a stadium that still has the sense of community, that we were able to talk to and high five the players after every match. You don't see that in any professional league, and we have that here in Detroit. So I guess the first question to you is, can they still high five the players in the new stadium?
Yeah, I mean, that's a conversation we're having with the architects, where they say there's standards, and we're like, yeah, but the standards have to meet our expectation. And that's one of the charms since Cass Tech and at Keyworth that's carried on, that it is awkwardly close from those fans on the front row who are singing and chanting the entire time at midfield, being able to give high fives to the players. And so you come to a game, and men's and women's teams, they do the lap around stadium, they give a high five to everybody, and win or loss, and so
it's got to give you chills. You have to love watching that, win or loss.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of support, regardless of the results, is pretty amazing. And as this project endeavor's gone on for close to 15 years now, just the connection that those fans have, the supporters have with the players, but how it's transcend now generations, and people are growing up with it, and just that community collection, that vibe, and it's a huge challenge for us to maintain that, and we consider that the greatest obstacle, I think, with pulling off this stadium.
I'm sure the architects can figure it out, right? Little high five zone.
Right.
Okay, let's look at one more answer over on Megaphone. Some things I hope to stay the same are being able to stand on the fence line, like you just been talking about here, being really close to the players, and having great food trucks. I do hope something that can be done to make lines shorter at halftime, and a tailgate spot for pregame would be nice. What do you think? Food trucks, tailgating, pregame?
Yeah, no, I'm all on board with what Nate's suggesting here. So we are the only pro soccer team in North America where the supporter section, the fans who generally paying the least and are standing the entire game, actually set at midfield. And that was a thing that came out of necessity at Cass Tech, but we maintained at Keyworth, and we're committed in the new stadium that we'd be the only team that has that. So it sets the tone in the stadium, but also it's the optics, and it creates that vibe in there. So again, it gets that touch line, and I think we are this remarkable entrepreneurial story in Detroit, regardless of sports, and take a lot of pride that those food trucks in particular, that we've become a launching pad for a lot of small businesses, and so that's something that we look to foster, and we're developing partnerships in the new stadium to make sure that continues.
And it's amazing too, as you mentioned, a lot of this was born from necessity, but it just worked out, and you loved it so much. So, all right, Sean, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much. And the new show, Local 4 Live, our very first guest. Okay.